The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is the winner of the Ruiz-Joshua rematch will likely have to vacate a title because Pulev is the mandatory challenger for the IBF belt, and Alexander Usyk is the mandatory challenger for the WBO belt. And of course, they could only fight one. And so basically, as a result of that, the winner of that fight will likely lose one of the titles. And so my question is, should the unified champion be forced to fight multiple mandatories? I'm going to start one off with Trill.
No, I believe that, you know what I'm saying, these guys done paid these sanctioning fees and they done stepped in the ring and took these punches and won these belts. I think these guys should have a chance to defend these belts. I think it should be, you know, if you have a mandatory for IBF and a WBO, everybody waits their turn. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually, if it's not no big money fight to be made, they can fight. But everybody wait in line and they get a turn. Everybody get a turn. But trying to strip these guys for something that they earn because you want to make a couple of more dollars and you don't want to wait, it's ridiculous. And that's why a lot of fighters start getting mad and downplaying having these belts because of the games that these sanctioning bodies play. You know what I'm saying? I think it's not fair. You know what I'm saying? I think it's not fair at all.
G?
I see it from two sides. If I was the governing body, I understand why you would need to strip them, right? But because I'm thinking about like Pulev, right? Pulev's been a mandatory for like damn near almost like 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's not fair to a fighter like Pulev to constantly have to wait. So I understand in that particular situation, if Pulev's not the next fight for whoever wins against Joshua and Ruiz, then if I was an IBF, I'd be like, all right, we need our belt. You know what I mean? Because it's not fair to this guy. But I don't believe that if you have two mandatories for two different belts, that if you take one versus the other, that the other governing body should strip you, right? It doesn't necessarily make sense because then nobody will want to unify. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, I'm even at this point where there's certain people that surpass these belts anyways. Mm-hmm. Like I think like Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Joshua, if Anthony Joshua could get back on top, they're beyond these belts. I would even want a belt if I was them because I could sell out whatever regardless. I'm a pay-per-view star regardless, with or without these belts. So it's cute. And I'll be like, you know what? All right, then strip it, whatever. Then I could just choose what I want, like who I want to fight. And for the rest of my career, I'm literally in control. When they're telling you have to fight.
Make a belt for you.
That's what I'm saying. They're just gonna make me a franchise, whatever. But if you're telling me, I have to fight this person, then this person, then this person, then this, there's 4 to damn near 5 sanctioning bodies that all have mandatories. What am I supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna give me any wiggle room. If I unify, like let's say like AJ or Ruiz or Wilder, one of the champs actually unifies and gets all 5 belts. You're telling me for now they just have to concentrate on mandatories for the rest of their career until they lose? That's not even cool. I would even say like let's say if you fight a mandatory, then after that fight you get a fight of your choosing. Then mandatory, then fighting of your choosing. And I feel like maybe this is where we need to consolidate these goddamn belts, to be honest with you. Like if maybe like you could have all 5 belts, but maybe the way they do the rankings should be universal, or something. Like once the belts are unified, then the sanctioning body should form a unified list to determine who's the mandatory. So that way now there's not like, WBO has one person who's a mandatory, and then WBC has one person, and the IBF has one person, IBO, you know what I mean? Like, let's just stop doing that. If one champion has like 3 belts, then those 3 governing bodies all consolidate in regards to who will be that mandatory for those 3 belts. Once either like one of the titles gets stripped due to like not paying the sanctioning fees or whatever, then that governing body can separate and create their own mandatory. But as long as one person has their belts, if they have 2, then the mandatory should be just for those 2 belts, the same mandatory. If it's 3, the same mandatory for those 3 belts, 4 or 5. That's how they should do it, as opposed to like everybody's keeping their own guy, and then it's making it impossible to unify in the division.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree. A unified champion shouldn't be forced to fight multiple mandatories, and there are a number of ways that the sanctioning bodies can go around it. But I think Pulev, really, the world's not demanding that Ruiz fight Pulev or Joshua fight Pulev, but it can cost them their belt. Usyk just got to the heavyweight division, had one fight in the heavyweight division, and yet Usyk gets a title shot or else. All the hard work Joshua did collecting the belts and Ruiz did getting the belts from Joshua, and it's just like lose a belt because this guy deserves a shot. It's ridiculous to me. So I agree with G, and I've been saying it, just make one mandatory. If someone unifies, make one mandatory. Decide who do you want to see the champion fight, make one mandatory, and then let the champ fight that one person. Or if someone unifies and then you have a Pulev out there, make a belt. You make belts for everything else, just make a belt. Like the IBF 2, like IBF A champion. Here he goes. When he gets a chance, he'll fight for the IBF belt and then do away with the IBF A belt. Realistically, like G was saying, these belts are just jewelry. We already know who we like. We already know who we want to see. We know we want to see Canelo. So if you give Canelo all the belts in the world, it's just jewelry to us. He's walking to the ring with some shiny medals, and everybody goes, oh, there goes the champ right there. But really, we know who he is. We want to see him fight. Same with Anthony Joshua, same with Andy Ruiz, same with Wilder. We know Wilder's a champ. If you strip him because he doesn't fight a mandatory, we're going to know he didn't lose the belt in the ring. So, like, you know, no one wants to see Wilder fight Brazil. Oh, here we got to fight him. He's your mandatory. And look what happened. It wasn't even enough time to order a burger and get that for that fight. You know what I'm saying? This is your mandatory. Like, come on, man. Just stop with this mandatory madness. If you keep it this way, why would anyone want to become undisputed?
Exactly.
And that's all the fans want to see is undisputed. All we want is one champion. But now with all the politics, it's starting to be like, why would anybody want to be one champion? It's like so hard. You got to fight mandatories. You got to do this. Then you can't take the big money fight. So you mean to tell me the big money fight is Ruiz Wilder or Joshua Wilder, but they can't take that fight because they got to fight Pulev first?
Facts. Crazy.
Ridiculous. And then you have the potential for Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz to fight Deontay Wilder for the first undisputed heavyweight champion of the world since Lennox Lewis. And now that's going to be taken away because Pulev or Usyk needs a shot? Man, this is ridiculous, man. It just makes you wonder, like, what's going on with the sport of boxing, man? Is it really the sanctioning fees and is it really that important? Because what's going to happen is we're going to have to decide if they strip Ruiz or if they strip Joshua and then they go on and fight Deontay Wilder, say Ruiz wins and he fights Wilder. If Ruiz wins or if Wilder wins, do we still view them as the undisputed champion of the world? Because that's really what they should be.
Problem is, it's too many belts.
Facts. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
It's too many belts. I think every division should just have one belt. Every division, make it more simpler. Thank you for watching Boxing Bros. Please like and subscribe and leave us a comment. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It's the Boxing Bros.